Hello my boys, good morning. So yesterday GGG revealed the patch 0.4 Last of the Druids, and in this beautiful video I will give my impression based on what I've seen so far. So let's jump into the bread right now. So we can split this expansion that we're gonna have in a couple of days in the 3 sections. First of all we have the Druid class, then we have the temple thing, and lastly they did some game improvements, so you have faster loading screens, for example. So they optimized the game better, which is great because a lot of people were struggling with Path of Exile 2 in terms of optimization for the game. It was poorly done. And now they said that they made it better, which is huge. So these 3 sections are the most important. We're gonna cover everything. We need to get the elephant out of the room, which is the patch lacks content. So Jonathan Rogers said multiple times towards the end of patch 0.3 that they are working for 0.4 to have a lot of endgame content. As a matter of fact, the Atlas is pretty much the same, so nothing changed in the Atlas skill tree. The mapping system will pretty much be similar to the one from patch 0.3. And this pretty much means that, in my opinion, this league will have a lower player retention than patch 0.3. I think players will get bored faster than last league. I think we also set up some real high expectations, and this led to disappointment. So don't get me wrong, the additions that they added to the game are good. We're gonna cover everything now, but people were expecting more. This is the idea, we're expecting more for the patch, they were expecting more from the endgame, and simply this is not enough to satisfy people, so the player retention will be lower, we will see. Now let's address what they revealed in this stream. So we have the Druid, of course we have new ascendancies, and we're gonna talk about in a second. The Druid, it's phenomenal, people will want to play it. Now if I want to give you a quick summary of this class, I think that the beast forms will be slow for mapping. You know, from mapping you have monsters coming from all directions, tons of monsters, everyone. You want builds with huge area of effect potential, yeah. The Druid in normal human form, I think it will be great. This will be meta, especially the shaman. We're gonna talk a little about the shaman, but here, the bear form, the wolf form, and the winner maybe for single target, but for mapping, in my opinion, as a player that plays a lot Path of Exile 1, I think it's slow. It's slow. It will be fun to play, but slow. And also it's heavy combo based. You need to push that skill and then go to play another skill in order to combo it. And a lot of people don't want this thing. They don't want to press too many buttons. But again, we will see. It's too early for that. And here is the temple mechanic. Again, they had to stretch it here. You know, they didn't have much to show. So they put here the new Druid. Comes with 2 new ascendancies. When you introduce a class in Path of Exile, of course you need to give some ascendancies. And here again for the temple, what they said. Fate of the Vaal, build your own dungeon. 9 crafting system mechanics, which are pretty much different rooms from the temple that give different benefits. Yeah, again, they didn't have a lot of content to present in this patch and they had to stretch it a little. The temple mechanic, it's not for everyone, I need to tell you. So they come from work and they want to blast some maps before going to sleep. They don't want to think too much. And for the new mechanic with the temple, you need to think a lot. I mean, you need to get used to the rooms to create. Now, a good thing that they actually did here, you can trade those special room rewards, you can trade to other players. So you can still blast maps all day, and you buy from other players from the currency exchange the items that you need for your crafting, for example. You don't have to interact with the temple. But the whole league will be pretty much you're forced to interact with the temple to try the new league content, yeah? And the temple is an out of Atlas strategy pretty much. The most of the action will happen out of Atlas. This is very similar to Incursion from Path of Exile 1. I mean, we have the Locus of Corruption, we have the Doriani Institute for the Gems, we have Waziri at the end, but of course, like they did with Abyss, they made it much better. So even when they took Abyss from Path of Exile 1, they made it better in Path of Exile 2. Abyss in Path of Exile 2 feels better than Path of Exile 1. Same here, they took Incursion and they made it better, it feels better, it's more complex, you have more dynamics. And this is a trend that I like, and possibly in the future they will take more content from Path of Exile 1 and will make it more dynamic in Path of Exile 2. Which raises the question again, what will happen to Path of Exile 1 in 2 years? Because if you have the same mechanics but only better than Path of Exile 1, of course it will start dying. So my prediction stays. So before patch 0.1 for Path of Exile 2, I made this prediction. I said that Path of Exile 2 will become more and more similar to Path of Exile 1, thus in 2-3 years Path of Exile 1 will start dying. And apparently I was right. They're copying a lot of things from Path of Exile 1, they're tweaking Path of Exile 2. You will see that in 2 years, Path of Exile 2 actually has the potential to be better than Path of Exile 1. Yeah, this is my prediction and it still stays. Now another thing that they added, so Aziri Pinnacle boss is pretty much the temple mechanic with the last boss. 11 new unique Abyss to core, yeah, this is great. Everyone was expecting Abyss to get added to the core, they put a lot of effort into that. Waystone crafting changes. Here it's a thing that I like from the reveal. They explain that you no longer need to stress yourself with the Waystone juicing. You know, people were taking the Waystones and applying special Abyss modifiers so they maximize their profit. They remove the instillment for the Waystones. These are great changes in my opinion because it felt like mandatory to do. Extra steps that were mandatory. This is a great change for the Waystones, I love it. Rebalanced uniques and skills. I mean, usually in Path of Exile 1 and 2, each time we have a new league, they introduce new uniques, they do balances. This is normal. Again, they lack content and I had to stretch this image here so they appear there's a lot of things going on. But in reality, we don't have a lot of things. It's just the Druid, it's just the temple mechanic, and here some things here for the endgame. We're gonna talk about the Abyss that was added to the core. That's it. Now let's go on this page and try to scroll it up fast. Here we have the shape-shifting forms for the wolf, for the bell, for the Wiran. Pretty much again, I need to repeat. This for mapping, it will not be that great. So we have builds that can even off-screen enemies, you know, very large area of effect, very dynamic skills, maybe for single target. So I think the Druid will be in shape-shifting form, it will be great for single target, but for mapping, for now, based on what I personally seen, I think for mapping it will be kinda slow. Yeah. It will be fun to play, but slow. Also a lot of combos to do. I'm not happy so far based on what I've seen, but I was very happy with the Druid in human form. Yeah, this has match potential, especially the shaman. So the shaman has access to a class based on you do more damage based on maximum rage. And getting maximum rage in this game, it's easy as fuck. You have it on the skill tree, for example, you take all the maximum rage nodes. You have on the jewels, you can take maximum rage and also have some extra items. So you stack as much maximum rage as possible and you do shit all of damage. My opinion, this one, the shaman, will be meta in the next league. Now listen to POEGuy here, the shaman, I love it. Okay, let's go here. Over 30 new support gems. Yeah, depends now. We need to reveal to see all of them and check them carefully. This is good, gives you more variation for the game. I mean, each time they add more support gems, gives more fluidity to the game, more variation, which is all about Path of Exile. Changes to the character balances. Okay, this is normal. They do patch notes and they balance, you know, overpowered builds and underpowered builds too. The Fate of the Vaal, this is the temple mechanic. The power of sacrifice, yeah. No, build your own dungeon. Again, this is incursion, but slightly more complex. We will learn the recipes. Here will be some building order recipes. Now it's too early to say. We need to interact with the league and discover for ourselves. But again, this mechanic is not for everyone. You know, some guys, again, they come from work, they want to blast a couple of maps, then they go to sleep. They don't want to stay do this all day. So again, this mechanic is not for everyone. Claim the treasures inside. Of course, new mechanic, new loot. It's normal. Each time when they add a new mechanic, they add new loot to it. Embrace the corruption. This is interesting. So here is pretty much locus of corruption from Path of Exile 1. Similar. It's not exactly the same. It's similar. And you can also corrupt an item which is already corrupted for even more power. And this will be great. You know, people that like to max builds will go here a lot and try to get the best corruption for their builds. This is a thing that I also personally like. Here that they added. Face the Royal Architect. Okay, new bosses, that's fine. Kneel before your queen. Okay, and the Pinnacle boss here that you need to kill and will drop extra items with special effects. Fine. What's this? Adds a skill treasure. Man, we will see it in the league. Going Abyss, going core. This was expected. So a lot of people were expecting Abyss to go core because they put a lot of effort and the mechanic is actually fun. It's actually rewarding too. So yeah, you might want to focus Abyss in your maps to take it. I mean, those omens will be on high demand. So yeah, Abyss will be rewarding even in this patch. And that's it. Again, the content that they added is great, but people were expecting much more. That's why this led to some disappointment from the community because people were expecting much more. Especially since Jonathan Rogers had some interviews that said that in patch 0.4 it's all about the endgame. Even I speculated that they will rework the Atlas skill tree, which sadly is the same. They added a cluster for Abyss, which will be added to the core, and that's it. So pretty much the gameplay for mapping will be 95% same as the one from patch 0.3. Now coming back to the game, I will league start once more with Warbringer Totem. So since patch 0.1 I've been league starting with Warbringer. Here in 0.1 I did Shockwave Totem, in 0.2 I did the Ancestral Warrior Totem, in 0.3 I did Grenade Totems. In this patch, because I checked the patch notes, I will go again with Grenade Totems. Yeah, so I'm preparing a series of videos on my channel regarding this. Also we have 2 dedicated support channels for my build, which will get update too. On stream I will league start with different warriors and finish the campaign from level 1 to endgame and so show you how great is this build. It can also work under 1 divine for Waystone 15, which is great for a league starter. Here I will need to update a little my campaign starter progression. Yeah, we'll do some tweaks. Need to check also the reward skill tree. and we're gonna have a good time. You also have an active support channel here if you have questions or problems. See you here. Enjoy the rest of the day and good luck.